Hello everybody, welcome back to the stream. Good to see you. Today we're going to be just continuing on with what we were doing yesterday, which was adding more trigger node effects. I also want to explore maybe adding some more enchantments. There is an enchantment issue actually that I have not yet addressed, which probably should be taken care of. Let's see. Enchant text is too long, so we might do some enchantments. I keep adding stuff to this to-do list, but it'll be fine. These will be very quick to do anyway, so we're going to be focusing on that today. But before I get into it, I want to remind everyone that Alchemortis is available for wish listing, so if you're interested in that, definitely check it out. It's a dark fantasy roguelite auto battler. And also you can support me and the game on Patreon here. If you subscribe at this top tier for at least 1 month, I'll send you an Alchemortis key when the game launches. So this is like a pre-purchase basically. And also your name will be in the in-game Alchemortis credits. So if that sounds interesting, definitely check that out. And also I have my Udemy courses available for sale. These will teach you how to build complete games in the Godot engine. This is the co-op online multiplayer course. So if those sound interesting, check them out. And I also have the Discord linked below. That's totally free to join. You can also like the video, subscribe to the channel, all of that good stuff. And yeah, I think that's it. So now let's move on. Hello, Clickertail, welcome back. Good to see you. V, welcome, welcome. Progyon, hello. Good to see you. Muius, good morning. All right. So I was working on these trigger nodes, trigger configurations. So one thing that I don't have is I don't have a lot of positive node effects. Now what I could do is I could just borrow the obelisk effects, but that seems like it would be kind of bad. Hello, Ito. Makes Games, welcome back. Good to see you. So maybe we'll do some positive effects here. Trying to think. Combat currency reward map node effect. Excuse me. Give me 1 second actually, real quick. All right, sorry about that. So we need some positive map node effects for the trigger functionality. So yesterday we did exhaust combat on start. We did combat reduced health, increased notoriety penalty. So now I think we just need to think of some positive ones. So obviously could add currency to the player. That could be a positive. What else? We can maybe make it upgrade a random card in the player's on the player's board. That could work. I would need to do a whole animation for that though. So basically, when the Inquisition blesses nodes, they get the nodes that they bless get one positive ability and also one negative ability, or not ability, but like passive on them. And the positives that we have currently are increased combat currency rewards, getting an enemy card from a booster pack, and getting a Death Orchid from a reagent event. But I think we need to come up with some come up with some generic ones, because all of these apply to specific node types. So this only applies to boosters, this only applies to combat, this only applies to reagents. So we're going to need some positives that are maybe a little bit more generic. And also, these are all obelisk powers too. But I suppose there's not really a problem with adding the obelisk powers in here. I mean, I could do that just to fill out the positive effects. Let's see. Maybe we'll do that. Okay. Yeah, so I've already written all these, so I'm just going to add these to the positives. So we've got combat currency reward, combat reduced max health, enchant additional application. Enemy card booster, exhaust card, fire damage over time. Floating eye, hide revealed nodes, increased notoriety penalty. Reagent guaranteed death orchid reduced to max health. Shop node card tier. Add item, new shop node card tier, map node effect. And then we have the upgrade twice map node effect. Upgrade twice map node effect. Cool. Hello, Schlurgy. Welcome back. I am having a good holiday season. I hope you are as well. The new year is coming up. It's 2026 already. I remember being in grade school and struggling to remember to date my papers from like 2006 to 2007. It's like, oh, it's the new year. I kept dating it as 2006. Haha. And now it's 2026. Sad. Hello, ZooX Entertainment. Randomly came across your code review video. Super helpful. Oh, thank you. Yeah, I'm glad you liked it. Happy holidays. Yeah, Happy New Year to you. And I hope you had a good Christmas if you celebrate it. So anyway, I think that's all. So these are all the map node effects that I currently have in the game. Maybe we don't need more. I mean, it would be nice to do like a generic positive. Let's do a generic positive because these are all specific to certain node types. So this one can only be applied to enchantment nodes. We could see that with this event type filter here. So there's this event type filter, and then that kind of determines where this map node effect can be placed. So as you can see, when we are picking the effects from the loot table here, we do a filter on that event type filter. So if this event type filter is null, then that means it's a generic map node effect that can be applied to any map node. And I do have some generic negatives. I think these two are generic negatives here, and this one as well. So I just need some generic positives. One generic positive that I was thinking about doing is upgrading a random card on the player's board, but again, that's going to require an animation, which is fine. I could do that. One random, one generic. What? So what are the tools we have to buff the player? We can increase the player's health. We can increase the player's currency. We can upgrade a random card. For the player. What else? I feel like I don't have a whole lot of ways of actually buffing the player. Do we need to buff the player? Can we buff something else? Can we buff the nodes? Excuse me. Maybe it does make sense to just make the buffs specific to the event types. Maybe that does make sense. Yeah, because I don't even really know what kind of generic upgrades or buffs I could have beyond those three things that I mentioned. Increasing the player currency, buffing a card somehow. I could add a card, like you could get a random card added to your inventory. The problem with that is that I would need to handle the situation where if the player has a full inventory and there's no room for the card, I would need to have like an overflow system. Could maybe do that. I've been eating frogs again. My goodness. How difficult? We're about to go off on a really big tangent here. How difficult would a card overflow system be? I think I have an idea for how I do the card overflow system. So if I look at my game UI here, not the script, no. If I look at my game UI scene, put an overflow board here, and then that overflow board could be spawned in during the run manager. So in this run manager, I have these, no, where is that? Event, state machine, state utils. Here we go. So for each event type, I have these event state machines. These event state machines all have a finished event handler. So I wonder what I could do if I needed like an overflow cards is I could detect when a certain event is finished. And usually what these do is, let me see. So on event state machine finished, emit signal event finished. So this changes the state into the state map. What I could do in here is I could do a check in here and say if overflow card manager dot has overflow cards or whatever, and then I could do a state machine change state into state overflow cards. So I could just hijack this and go to that state first. And then whenever that state is done, in other words, whenever the player takes all the cards out, then I can go back to the state map. So I think that's how I would do that. I don't know if I want to do this right now, but I'm just making sure that I have a good approach for that before I do something like reward the player with a card. So let's do this. I want to do something interesting with this node effect. So we have like the spider egg artifact, which gives you a spiderling after every combat. I'm thinking let's make a special type of card that can only be retrieved from the trigger node buff that gets automatically added to your inventory. Yeah, that sounds cool to me. So that's going to require a couple of new systems, but that's all right. Add card overflow system. Well, I know what that means, so we'll just write that down. This to-do list is getting bigger, but it's all right. All right, so now we got to think of a card. Maybe I'll just get it working first, and then we'll figure out what to call the card. So I'll just start by rewarding the player with a spiderling, and then we will see what happens. So we're going to need a new positive map node effect, new file. What am I going to call this? I guess I'll call it automatic card reward map node effect .cs. We'll copy this. Automatic card reward map node effect. We'll get rid of this event type filter. To grants a spiderling, something like that. I have no idea. But what we're going to want to do in here probably is make this a little bit generic. So we're going to want to do string reward card ID. Okay, so we've got the automatic reward card effect. What I'm going to want to do here is maybe where am I doing the max health? Let's see. Combat reduced health, additional max health, reduce max health map node effect. This is used in the trigger configuration. Oh shoot. Am I really not using this anywhere? Oh, on node visited. Here we go. So I'm going to want to override this on node visited. So let's do that. Public override void on node visited. We are going to do card registry.fromID reward card ID. That will give me the card definition resource. Now I'm going to look at my spider egg artifact. See here, I have a to-do from a couple months ago to add overflow, so I still need that, but so we're basically going to just copy this. From ID to card instance set is player owned. Does this not automatically do? It doesn't, okay. Where am I using this? Create card is owned by a player. Okay. Why am I not doing that with my spiderling? My spider egg. Card factory.create card. Our spiderling is equal to card factory.create card. I'm going to change this a little bit. Create card from ID, string card ID. Yeah. And then we can just do this. Return create card. Create card from ID, card ID.spiderling. That simplifies that. And then I'm going to do the same thing in here. var card. Call this reward card is equal to card factory create card from ID. Okay, so now I need to do this. Context helper, so var player, var board manager is equal to context helper dot board manager. Player inventory board, player board. Just copy the spiderling basically. Reward card queue free. Okay. Parameter reward card ID. Right, I need to put this here. Okay, so automatic card reward map node effect. This get description here, I'm going to need to do this. Var card is equal to card definition resource dot from ID. No, card registry from ID, reward card ID. That will give me a card definition resource, and then I can do this. Card dot display name. Okay, so that should work. So now in my positive map node effects table, I could do positive map node effects table dot add item, new automatic card reward, and we'll just do a spiderling for now. So that's going to be on node visited. Probably will want to animate that as well, but that's all right. So I think that should work. So now we got to try the trigger nodes. Generate trigger nodes. Hello, dog. Do you have the zoomies? Do you have the zoomies? The dog is just sprinting around the house right now. Honey, honey, sit. Honey. Oh, he's not listening. Honey, honey, come. Good boy, sit. Good boy, good boy. Okay. So we have the nodes to trigger. Dog, show dog. Well, he's running around. I can't grab him right now. Maybe I can. Honey, come. Good boy. Honey, come. Come here. Honey, come. Honey, come. Honey, come. Good. Oh my gosh. Honey, come. Good boy. Good boy. Hey. Good boy. Good boy. There's the dog. He weighs not much more than my cat. He's tiny. He's a tiny dog. Are you tiny? You tiny? Honey, sit. Honey. He's a tiny dog. Yeah, he's fluffy. Yeah. Doggy. What? I was in the middle. He was in the middle of something. He did not want to listen. He did not want to listen. But it's okay. He's a little bit. He's got some energy. He's got some energy. What am I? Like a reverse petting zoo? What is this? Now I have the cat. Oh, what are you doing? Oh, goodness. Every time, like, the animals all have, like, maximal energy when I start my stream, and so it's, like, sometimes it's a little bit distracting with them all running around and jumping up on me and whatnot. Chicken. I'll tell you what, my house is not very big, and 3 animals is pushing the limit. Hey. Anyway, so yeah, we're gonna change this trigger nodes to have 100 to 200, and then what? I think we could just test this. Oh, I was gonna remove all of these. So we're gonna see if this automatic map node, automatic card reward works. I got myself all looking forward to doing the overflow system now. I kind of want to do that. I think it would be relatively easy. Basically, all I would do is if I detect that a card can't be added to the board, I would just add it to like an overflow manager. And then I would have a situation in my run manager state machine where I would check the overflow status and then show a board with all the overflow cards so that the player can choose them and then sell them or whatever. The idea is I don't want the player to lose any cards that the game says the player's going to get, because that would feel bad. So I want to have the player have an opportunity to utilize all the cards that they are rightfully owed. Grants a Spiderling card, notoriety penalty increased by 3. So if I do this, and look at that, I got a Spiderling card. Awesome. So I probably will want to animate that at some point. You know what I could do? Maybe I could just utilize the overflow system always. And just always show a board that grants, but that could get annoying. I don't know. Anyway, that is working. Oof. So that works. So what I want to do next is I want to actually create a special type of card that can only be retrieved from this trigger node. So I want to make it a special card that maybe is a little bit more powerful than usual because it's going to be hard to get. I want to do more cards like that as well. Cards that are just relatively hard to get. I actually wonder, can I exclude cards from the loot table here? Exclude from loot table, yeah. Loot table weight. I did add this loot table weight. I don't think I'm using it anywhere though. So I can make a card that is excluded from the normal loot table. I think Spiderling actually is excluded from the loot table. This might be the only one. Yeah, so the Spiderling is excluded from the loot table. So the Spiderling can only be acquired from the Spider Egg artifact. And so I want to do something similar with this trigger node. I want to create a card that can only be acquired from that. So let's take a look at our board here and think about something that we could get. An eyeball would be thematically appropriate. An eyeball, yeah. Because the Inquisition kind of uses the eyeball theme. So if we do an eyeball card, maybe, I guess I'll just try to make it a one by one card again. So let's see. Let's do the card creation tool. We'll do eyeball, 1 by 1. Create. Oh my goodness, dog. Oh my goodness. Eyeball. Okay. Let's open up Sprite. Hello, Philsefe. Good morning. I have to go work at a kebab shop in a few minutes. I hate my job. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. But I guess it's better to have a job than to not have one. Please, any support? Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Well, everything's temporary. So, you will be done with this job eventually. Probably before you know it, you'll be looking back in 20 years and be like, oh yeah, I worked at a kebab shop. Hello, I'm getting started in game dev here. I already have programming experience, Java, Kotlin. Do you recommend starting with C# course? If you already have programming experience, the language doesn't really matter that much. So whether you want to use C# is going to come down to what you're comfortable with. If you like classic object-oriented, statically typed languages like Java, then C# would be an easy transition for you, and a lot of the concepts are exactly the same, or all the concepts are exactly the same. Basically, there's I worked with C# and Java at one of my first jobs, and switching between the two was relatively easy. But I wouldn't necessarily say just because you have Java skills that you need to use a similar language like C#. Something like GDScript is very, very easy to learn if you already have programming experience. It's basically a non-issue. I find that's the case with with languages just generally. If you know one programming language, if you're proficient with one language, then you're kind of proficient with all of them, with a few exceptions. But it's very easy. The only thing you have to learn really is the syntax, and that's it. So yeah, I wouldn't necessarily limit yourself to using a specific language. I think maybe the approach that I would take is find an engine that you want to use, if it's Godot or Unity or whatever, and then see what languages are available to you there, and then you can go based on that. But I would choose the tooling that you want to use first. I don't know if I would work from the language requirement first and then up to the tools. I would go the other way. I would look at what tools you want to use in terms of like a game framework or an engine, and then choose the language that you use with it if you have options, right? So, sorry if that doesn't really answer your question, but yeah, just some stuff for you to consider. Okay, open file, assets, card, eyeball A-Sprite. You're welcome. All right, should we see if I have the ability to draw an eyeball? Okay. Did I do this on the wrong layer? Kind of like that. Yeah, we can make this work, I think. Okay, I'm just gonna, I don't really want to necessarily do highlighting right now because I'm not entirely sure I like the shape of this so far, but okay, I think maybe that'll work. Maybe that will work. Yeah, maybe. Okay. Maybe we'll try that. Yeah, the problem is, doesn't really look like there's a whole lot of depth here. But I can fix it. Let's see. I think that looks decent, maybe. Maybe if I do something like that instead. Yeah, that should work. I think probably, I don't know, that looks decent, I suppose. Yeah, I suppose it looks all right. I don't know. Hey, my eyes are up here, and I may have dropped one below the cauldron somewhere. Yeah. Is this a reagent? So this is a card that's going to be rewarded from a trigger node. So again, the Inquisition can bless some locations, and what the blessing does is it adds a negative modifier to the node, but it also adds a positive modifier to the node. So this one is going to be one of the positive modifiers. It's going to grant the player this card that you can only get from those Inquisition blessed nodes. And since it's going to be relatively hard to get, I'm also going to make it relatively powerful. Well, I don't think that's the best eye in the world, but I think if I'm looking at the mini preview here, I think it reads as an eyeball well enough. So I think I'll call that good. Look at this guy streaming, working through the whole weekend. Yeah, thank you. That eyeball looks great. Thank you, thank you. Yeah, I'm streaming through the whole weekend. I mean, in all honesty, I've been playing way too many video games because all my friends are off work. They took a bunch of days off to have a big chunk of time off for the holidays. And so I've been using that time to spend an ungodly amount of time playing video games. But we'll be back to like a more rigorous work schedule probably after the new year. Right now we are playing Arc Raiders, of course. And also there's a game that me and my other friend really like called No Rest for the Wicked. It's kind of like a Souls-like exploration, crafting kind of game. And they just came out with a experimental multiplayer update, so we've been playing that, and that's really fun. Anyway, not to get off track. Okay. Eyeball is done. So now we got to think of a really, really good ability to give it. Also, I'm going to change this. No Rest for the Wicked is cool. Yeah, I agree. I think I've played the early access version through like 3 or 4 times now. And I think it has a potential to be one of the best games in that genre, whatever genre it is. I guess it's not. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know where the boundaries of Souls-like is, but it definitely has challenging combat. It's got like stamina management, but it's also got the ARPG style like loot and gearing, which is really cool. But I think it has the potential to be one of the best games in the genre, the full game. You're not abusing the temple thing in PoE 2? People dropping like 100 div an hour? Yeah, I don't, I need to get back into PoE 2. I really like the Necromancer in that game. How it works with the spirit. The problem is, though, when I first played PoE 2, I got a scepter that was just like an ungodly, like, powerful scepter. Gave me tons and tons of spirit. It upgraded all my minion gems by like 3 or 4 levels. That, if I were to have sold that, that would have been like several divine orbs. But I just got it as a random drop. And now, since it's like I'm never going to get that drop again, all of my future Necromancer playthroughs are going to feel bad. It's time for game dev once again. Yes, indeed. Welcome back, Jackie Daytona. Okay, Kat, welcome back. So let's think of what ability to give the eyeball. So the eyeball needs to be really powerful, especially for a 1x1 card, but I think it just needs to be powerful overall. Because it's going to be a rare card. So let's think of some ways we can make this really powerful. One thing that could be interesting. So I'm thinking the eyeball could do something like scaling off paralysis. One thing that I don't have is I don't have any abilities that scale off of like the number of times paralysis was applied. So I'm wondering if I could make the eyeball like apply paralysis and then have some kind of scaling based off of how many times paralysis was applied. Eyeball more damage per notoriety, has full power at a boss fight. Oh, that is an interesting idea. Do I want to tie card power to notoriety level? That is a very interesting idea. I just don't know if I want to tie card power to notoriety level. More paralysis per notoriety. You like the notoriety level idea? I'm just thinking, is there going to be a problem if I want to do that? Well, that is a strong contender for an idea. But let me keep thinking of other things as well. Actually, you know what? Let's just do that. If it doesn't end up working, I can remove it from the game. I can change it. But let's scale it off notoriety level. So, do I want to do paralysis with it, or do I want to do something else? Let's see. More damage per notoriety. Scaling may be awkward. How's a new region work? Your notoriety level resets to 0 every time you visit a new region. So what would happen is the eyeball would scale up in power the closer and closer you get to the boss fight. It would have max power at the boss fight, and then it would have minimum power immediately after the boss fight until your notoriety ramps up again. Self-nerfing, I like it. Yeah, it's a very interesting idea. I'm just trying to think of what would the notoriety level be tied to? Would it be tied directly to physical damage? It could be tied to the amount of cards it paralyzes. It could reduce the turn cooldown based on the notoriety level. I kind of like the idea of reducing the turn cooldown per notoriety level. The card could gain additional effects, so there could be an ability that says, you know, if notoriety level is 25 or greater, then apply this ability. If notoriety level is greater than 50, greater than or equal to 50, then apply this ability. If it's greater than or equal to 75, then apply this ability. If it's greater than or equal to 100, then apply this ability, right? I think I find a good concept for my indie game, but I'm afraid someone will steal my idea, so I think about it and reveal my genius in one of your future live streams. That sounds good. I mean, I think my opinion on that is that ideas really aren't worth anything. It's all a matter of the execution, because the chances are that somebody else already had your idea as well, and there's also a good chance that somebody has tried and failed to execute on the idea that you think is original. Or there's also a good chance that there's actually a game on Steam that already executed that idea that only sold, you know, maybe as well as Gunforge did, so like, you know, 2,500 copies or whatever. So it's the idea is almost worth nothing. It's the execution on the idea that has all the value. So the reason I like build my games on stream and whatnot is, like, I like Alchemortis as an idea. Like, I like the theme, I like the mechanics and everything. And yeah, there's a risk that somebody's going to see this and make like a carbon copy or whatever, but I'm kind of focused more on executing the game really well than I am on protecting the idea. So that's just my opinion. Hello, Ariane, welcome. Good to see you. Yoink. 1000% ideas are cheap, execution is everything. Yeah. Like I'm of the opinion that you could have a mediocre idea that's executed really well, and that's going to do better in terms of sales than a really amazing idea that's executed poorly. I have several game ideas in my head, and recently I've found a game very close that already exists. Yeah, I had that experience when I was deciding what game to make after Gunforged. I had an idea for a game like, you know how the Path of Exile skill tree is like massive? Well, I had an idea for a game where I was like, what if the entire game was just the skill tree? What if it was like an auto battler, but all you do is you just put points into the skill tree? And I thought it was such a clever idea. I was like, oh my gosh, this hasn't been done. I even went as far as building a prototype. And I was browsing Steam one day, and lo and behold, there was an indie game that did exactly that. It was just a skill tree, and it was like an infinitely growing skill tree with randomly generated passive abilities that you put points into. There was an auto battler and everything. And I was like, oh, all right. I guess I'm not that clever. I have the perfect idea for a game, but I'll never make it so no one can steal it because everyone has all their eyes on everything I do all the time, as I'm the main character of the universe. Yeah. That's funny. That's funny. Main character of the universe, he is him. All right. What do we want to do? This notoriety level. Well, the first thing that I need to do is I actually need to get the notoriety level into the execution context. So I have that data. So let me even see if that's going to be feasible. Now I got to figure out where that execution context is actually created. Context helper, create execution context. I think what I'll do is I'll just make a public getter up here. Like so. And then I think I can get the run manager. So if I go into my execution context, or no, my... Where was that? Did I lose it already? Oh, I've got too many things open. Here. Wanted level is equal to run manager dot wanted level. Okay, so the wanted level is now in the execution context. I was joking. In reality, I find myself very late and very slow compared to other programmers, so I work every day to catch up. Oh, I gotcha, yeah. I gotcha. Counter proposal. What if the eye started as a card with no ability and then had a chance to see and permanently copy a random ability from the enemy board up to a maximum number of abilities? That is a very interesting idea as well. That would require a little bit more technical finessing. I like that idea. Maybe it doesn't necessarily need to be for the eyeball, but I like that idea. Let me see. Ability ideas. Permanently copy an enemy card ability up to X times. That is a very interesting idea. Welcome to the stream, by the way, Tom. Hello, Artem. Welcome back. Good to see you. We have to keep in mind, too, that this is a 1x1 card, so it can't be... It needs to be powerful, but it can't be too powerful. So I think what I'll do is I'll... Maybe we can make it do more... I don't know. All right, tell you what. Mention it for the eye because it's really close to the concept of seeing, so it sort of made sense for the eye. Yeah, it does make sense thematically for sure. But you know what I could do is I could do like a beholder. I don't know if I can exactly use a beholder. I don't know if that's like a copyrighted idea, but I could make like a bigger, giant, monstrous eyeball card that has that ability. But anyway, I'm going to take a quick 3-minute break. If you don't mind, yeah, keep brainstorming on how this eyeball card can scale with the wanted level. I will do the same thing. I'm going to go get a refill of my coffee and all that stuff. And when I come back, we will figure out what to do about this. So give me just 3 minutes. I'll be right back and we'll continue on. Okay, I'm back. Hello, Pedro. Any reason for using C# in place of GDScript? Software dev for 7 years here, trying to get into game dev as a hobby. Yeah, it's all, yeah. What V said is correct. It's personal preference. My opinion is that you should use whatever tools and languages you're most proficient with, whatever tools and languages are going to get you to build your game the most efficiently. There are certain downsides to C#, the main one being, at least in specifically for Godot, that you can't do HTML5 exports for web. But if you're not building an HTML5 game like I'm not, then, you know, it's kind of a moot point. So there are certain considerations depending on which tools you're using, but I think for the most part, yeah, you just, my opinion, I just choose whatever tools I am most comfortable with and most productive with, and that's basically my main concern. Can't be too OP as a 1x1 card. 25 cooldown reduced, 50 damage increase, 75 crit multiplier increase, crit chance increase. Yeah, I think I want to do something like that. So I do want to do some kind of like ability builder. Let's do this. Ability builder dot paralysis. Let's do duration of 3, max targets 1. So we're going to add paralysis to it. And then we're going to need I'm going to need to create a new wanted level provider, I think. Let's create that. New file, wanted level provider. When we execute this, we're simply going to return the execution context. Wanted level, get value. Oh, this is private int, ability value provider. What the heck? Oh, here we go. Int. Wanted level. Okay. So now we've got a wanted level provider. So now if I go to my eyeball here, what I'll do is I'll do this. New wanted level provider. This wanted level provider needs to be added here. Okay, so we've got the wanted level provider. So now we can do conditional ability decorators. So, oh shoot, you know what? If I want to do a turn cooldown reduction, that has to be... That has to be a non-combat composed ability. I wonder if that will work. Var turn cooldown reduction is equal to new non-combat composed ability. Non-combat composed ability. We'll grab this wanted level provider here. Return this. We'll do a conditional ability decorator. Var turn cooldown reduction. Go to new self turn cooldown modification. Yeah, self turn cooldown modification. Let's reduce it by 5, I suppose. Then we're going to do var conditional ability is equal to new conditional ability decorator. We're going to decorate the turn cooldown reduction, and then we're going to have this condition. So the condition is wanted level provider dot get value is greater than or equal to 25. And then what we do is we have the wanted level provider in there, and then we put the conditional ability in there. The scaling function, I guess we will change this self turn cooldown modification. So let's do const int base turn cooldown reduction is equal to -5. base turn cooldown reduction. We're going to do var scalar is equal to ability scalars.make additive scalar -1. Var new cooldown reduction is equal to scalar base turn cooldown reduction tier, and then set magnitude turn cooldown reduction dot set base magnitude. Okay, and then we have the description. Reduce turn cooldown by turn cooldown reduction get base magnitude if notoriety level is 25 or higher. Let's do greater. So now I can put this in here, this turn cooldown reduction there. That should do that. I kind of want to see if that just works. Because I'm not sure if this non-combat composed ability is going to have... is going to have the wanted level in the execution context. I think it should, but maybe it won't. So test player cards, I don't know why this keeps getting the wrong order, but that's all right. Eyeball here. What I'm going to do is the eyeball has a turn cooldown of 10 by default because I didn't change it. So I'm going to change the debug notoriety level to 25 here. We'll see if that works. Hello, Cairo Samuel. Welcome, welcome. Hugs from Brazil. Welcome. Good to see you. Brazil mentioned more hugs from Brazil. I have a lot of Brazilian viewers. I don't know, maybe it's that Godot is very popular in Brazil for some reason. But yeah, welcome. My chat is definitely like disproportionately Brazilian. So this is not working. Because I have a 31 notoriety level. Interesting. So, I mean, that looks cool. I can see how this would be cool, but we got to figure out why this non-combat composed ability is not getting the wanted level. Where is this? Ace card. Get all non-combat composed abilities. Oh. Update non-combat abilities. Create execution context for card. No, the wanted level should be there. Is my conditional ability decorator not working? Create enhanced execution context. Oh. Does this really need to be this way? Can I do return original with state? I thought there was a way to do this. Is there a way to take the record execution context and copy all of its properties over to the record execution context with state and only change only and add the ability execution state to it. Ask record inheritance. That's already what I'm doing. I don't want to have to update the constructor with any new property I add. What the heck? What? This is basically the same thing. All right, well, that was useless. Anyway, wanted level is equal to original wanted level. So I need to add it here. It's kind of annoying, but whatever. Brazil, yeah. It's so much popular in Brazil. Do you have some tips for pixel art? Yes, I do. I have a pixel art tips video on this channel. And you might find that specifically useful because the tips that I give are from the perspective of somebody that didn't really consider themselves an artist. So for me, and it's the 5 tips that I learned from watching pixel art tutorials on YouTube and watching like pixel art critique videos. It's the 5 tips that I learned that were the most impactful in increasing the quality of my pixel art. So I think it's called something like how to get good at pixel art with no skill or something like that. So check out that video on my channel if you're interested, and I hope you find it helpful. I made a shelf in a freezer. My freezer is bigger than my shelf. It's hard. Like it does take a lot of practice, but those 5 tips that I mentioned in that video should make a noticeable and immediate improvement in the quality of your art, but you will still need to practice for sure. My friend recommended me you because you use C#. That's good. Awesome. Glad to hear that. Okay, let's see if this works now. You're coming back again, Kat? What are you doing? So now, if we look at the eyeball, yeah, look at that, it's working. Reduce turn cooldown by, I need to make that an absolute value, but that's all right. Reduce turn cooldown by 5 if notoriety level is 25 or greater. Applies 3 turns of paralysis to 1 random enemy minion card. Cool. So yeah, so it's got a reduced cooldown of 5. Let's change the eyeball here. This needs to be absolute value. Okay, so that will work. I'm just going to test it real quick. So if I do 24, I should see the full turn cooldown. Yeah, so it's got a 10 turn cooldown right now. But if I go to this enchant here, and I enchant echo onto it, and I come back, that notoriety level is going to go up. Oh, and it did not update. So these non-combat abilities only update when the board state changes. So I think I need to trigger an update when other conditions can change. Let me think. Wanted level increase. Where am I calling update non-combat abilities? Base card, update non-combat abilities. That's being called by onboard state updated. Okay. So do I want to... game events dot instance. Actually, I don't even know if I have wanted level change does not exist in here. Where is this board manager? Board manager's here. So I should be able to do this dot get run manager dot connect run manager dot signal name dot wanted level changed callable dot from on wanted level changed. Wanted level cleared. Do I have to connect to both of these? The problem with this wanted level changed is that it is not emitting the signal when the wanted level becomes 0. I think that's probably okay, but I want to make it consistent. Like the way that this is worded on wanted level changed, this should be emitted anytime the wanted level changes. So what is this? State map. If traversal count is greater than 0 and not was in boss fight. So I think what I'll do is I'll just do emit signal wanted level cleared. I'll emit the cleared signal first, and then I'll do emit signal wanted level changed. There. So I'll just emit that signal here as well, because the wanted level is being set to 0. I don't think that's going to cause any problems, because these signals are really only used for that eyeball tracker at the top of the screen. So as long as I'm clearing it first, and then I emit a change of 0, I don't think anything will change with that. But the benefit of that now is that if I have this wanted level cleared, yeah, that's only listened for in this run progress bar. Okay, so that'll work. But now when I go to my board manager here, I don't need to listen to both signals. I can just listen to this one. And really, I don't even need the value from this. I'm just using this as a point to trigger an update for all of the non-combat abilities. So basically what I'm going to do here is I'm going to do private void on wanted level changed. And I'm going to pass in an int new wanted level here. And this is going to trigger... Oh, I need to do a loop over everything. So for each var board in all boards, for each var card, there we go. And I'm going to simplify this, or consolidate this. Private void update board non-combat abilities. Board. Okay. We're going to call this update board non-combat abilities board. Update board non-combat abilities. Okay. So basically anytime the wanted level changes now, we're just going to trigger an update, because now we have at least one card in the game that is based on the notoriety level. So let's see what that does. What VS Code theme is this? Is really cool. It's called Dracula. Yeah, Dracula theme. Nicholas is right. Hello, Vasto, by the way. Welcome to the stream. Good to see you. What do you think about the use of AI in programming as part of game dev? Copilot and Copilot likes. I use it a lot at my web dev job. Yeah, I mean, I think AI, like IDEs and like game engines, they're just another tool in your toolbox that you can use. And you can either use the tool ineffectively or you could use the tool effectively. An ineffective use of AI would be like a pure vibe coding where you don't know anything about programming and you're just trying to get the AI to do what you want it to do through a bunch of prompting. That's, at least as the AI stands right now, a recipe for disaster. You're probably not going to get what you want out of that. But if you're an experienced programmer, or even if you're learning, like if you're learning programming and you use AI as an interactive tutor to explain to you how certain algorithms work or what a certain section of code does, or even if you use it to give you an example snippet of code because you don't know how to approach writing something, that will be a good use of AI. But if you're a more senior programmer, then when AI is really useful is for doing a lot of rote work. So like the Copilot autocomplete saves me a lot of time because I already know what I'm going to write, and so does Copilot. So I just hit tab to autocomplete. Maybe I'll have to change one or two things because it didn't quite do it right, but that saves me a lot of time because I already know what I'm going to write, and it's going to take me 30 seconds to write out the block of code. So I could save that 30 seconds with just a button press with Copilot. The other part where Copilot is useful as a senior engineer is where you know how to wrangle it so that it outputs the code that you need. So for example, I needed a new loot table implementation for this game. I already knew what I wanted out of the loot table. I already knew how I wanted it to be built. So I just told the AI, I want a loot table implementation. I want it to have these methods and I want it to have this capability. And I did that, and it spit out a loot table script for me. And it saved me, it probably saved me 30 minutes of work, something like that. So yeah, I think it's another tool in the toolbox. It's like all tools, it can be used effectively or ineffectively, and it just depends on the context in which you're using it, really. Hello, Snuff Bill. Thank you for the IDR 10,000. Very much appreciate that. As always, good to see you again. Always good to see you. And we got the Yummers message. Thank you, thank you. Yeah, Copilot has been a blessing for my carpal tunnel. It really is. Like, when you get to a certain level of programming experience, there is just like a lot of rote work where it's just like you're just typing code. It's brain dead, right? Like you're not trying to figure anything out. There's no problem solving involved. It's just, I just need to write this code. And that's where AI can be really helpful if you have programming experience already. It makes it more fun to program, honestly, because then I don't have to do as many of the boring parts. Because the act of writing the code is not the fun part. The fun part of writing code is like having a problem to solve. And if there's no problem to solve, then it's just boring. It's just boring and tedious. So anyway, that's my opinion anyway. Is it exactly like that? Good to see I'm on the right track. Yeah. Although I will say the one thing that I am vibe coding is like shader code, because I don't want to spend the time learning how to do shaders. So I do somewhat vibe code my shaders and just like verbally abuse the AI until it gives me what I want. Sweet. So that updated. So that went from 10 to 5. So that triggered an update of the non-combat abilities, which is good. I really like this new resurrection mechanic too. I really like it. Oh, this is targeting only random minions. I don't want to do that. I want it to target anything. I need to change this. This is not flexible enough. I'm going to change this. I don't want to use this ability builder.paralysis, so let's change this. Var paralysis is equal to new composed ability. Var query target provider is equal to new query target provider. Const int base paralysis duration is equal to 3. We're going to do query target provider dot final to take is equal to 1. Query target provider dot final order by random is equal to true. Query target provider dot query options query source board is equal to false. Query target provider dot query options query target board is equal to true. And then we're going to do query target provider dot query options dot query directions is equal to query directions board inventory component query directions dot entire board. Then we're going to do a var buff applicator is equal to new buff applicator. We need what? We need the target provider, so query target provider, and then we need the buff factory. So this needs to return new paralysis. Paralysis debuff. What is it? Yeah, new paralysis debuff. Base paralysis duration. So we need to do var current paralysis duration. Okay. And then we return this. Okay. This, we need to put the query target provider in there, the buff applicator in there. And then we've got the scalar, make additive scalar 1. New paralysis duration. Okay. I'm going to copy this description, wherever that is. Oops. Here. So actually what I should do is I need to change this to do change to use buff applicator. I wonder if I could... I could have made the change here, but then I have to go and change all the other instances, so I'm not going to do that right now. I'll use the eyeball. So this is going to be the current paralysis duration. Turns of paralysis to... Can I do this? Query target provider dot to query string. Is that going to work? Oops. I've been trying to build out this to query string functionality here so that when I have a bunch of configured query options, it just generates a plain English language description, because that's going to help me standardize everything. But I have no idea if it's going to work here. Let's see. I definitely hesitate less when coding with Copilot. That may be a good thing or a bad thing, IDK. Yeah, I mean, I think that is true, because a lot of times, you know, I'll second guess myself. I'll be like, should I do it this way or should I do it some other way? And then Copilot comes in with its suggestion of the way that I was originally going to do it. And it's like, oh, it's like nice validation. I think the AI tooling leads to a lot less hemming and hawing, especially like when I'm doing something a little bit more broad too. What I will do is I will say, okay, hey AI, hey Copilot, this is the problem that I'm trying to solve. This is the approach that I'm going to take. is that good? And a lot of the times the AI will say, yeah, that's the best way to do it. Or it will say something like, you can make a minor change to your plan here. It increases, I think it increases like iteration speed because you have to spend less time sort of validating your own idea. I don't use coding assistants anymore. Notice I got too reliant on them. Yeah, I think, yeah, if you're the kind of person that would use it too much to the detriment of your coding ability, then I think it's a good idea to stay away from them, largely speaking. But debugging, yeah, that's a great application as for them as well. Late stream? It's not late. I don't think so. Welcome, Neozoid. Also means you can refactor it faster. Yeah. I mainly just use ChatGPT to make some HTML tools that I need for my projects. That way I don't have to rely on other random websites. Yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah. Using it to create... So I've done this in my personal life as well. So when I went to China, I set up a system that would notify people if my power went out. Because I've got hairless cats, and if the power goes out in the winter, they could become catsicles, right? So what I did is I used Cloudflare, like a Cloudflare worker. Doesn't really matter. But the point is I was able to get a script for that within like 30 seconds of just asking the AI for it. That was something that I was not interested in writing myself. I just wanted to get something working. So yeah, it was just a tool. The AI spit it out. I deployed it to Cloudflare and it worked. So that's that. Give me 1 second. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. Random websites run the risk of viruses, but with AI can at least look what the code is doing and have control over the code. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if any given snippet on a website is likely to have a virus. I don't think that's super common, but yeah, it can. I guess it's an added layer of safety. Okay, let's see if this works. There we go. Cool. All right. Well, we're not even close to done with this eyeball. We have some more stuff to do. But that paralysis is a lot nicer. So I'm going to take this to move this to ability builder. I have to say, if I'm allowed to toot my own horn, I really like this ability system that I've got going on here. It is relatively easy to create all kinds of abilities, which I really am enjoying. Okay, anyway. So what was the other stuff we're gonna do? Damage. I might add some damage, maybe crit chance. Yeah, let's do a couple other things. So we got paralysis, we've got turn cooldown reduction. Let's do maybe we'll just do some straight damage. I'm gonna copy this. Base damage is equal to 10. Actually, I guess I don't really need to... Can I add composed abilities in here? Oh gosh. I think I can. So what I could do is I could do var damage ability is equal to ability builder dot damage. I actually don't know if I want to do this. I am curious to know if that is supported though. I'm actually very curious. I think this does work because I could do a damage ability here, and then in the tier I can do a damage ability scale for tier. I don't know if I want to do this, but I'm kind of curious. Damage ability dot get description. Let's see. Oh, I forgot to add it. Oops. Let's put paralysis first. Okay. Deal 10 damage. Yeah, that works. I don't know if I want to do that in this case, but oh, it's not dealing the damage. Okay, so maybe it doesn't work. Okay. Well. Oh, because I didn't add it here. Sorry, I'm going off a little bit of a tangent here. I'm just kind of curious to see if those, so I don't know how to describe it, but I've got composed abilities, which are like groupings of different base abilities that are all stitched together. But when I do a list of abilities to execute, the list of abilities to execute can either be base abilities or composed abilities. Because the thing is, the composed ability, it has a collection of abilities here, this abilities list, so list base card ability, but you'll notice that the composed ability extends base composed ability, which also extends base card ability. So a composed ability has a collection of base abilities to execute, but itself also counts as a base ability. So I end up with this whole like system where ultimately what happens is the ability list gets flattened. So a composed ability is a grouping of abilities that work together, but when I go to execute the abilities when it's the card's turn, it just creates a flattened list of all of the abilities or all of the base abilities in order that it needs to execute. And so I think what ends up happening is, so like this, in this eyeball here, this damage ability is a composed ability. You can see it there. So when I add it to this abilities list, what ends up happening here is this actually gets decomposed into this damage base ability here. So this is a ability dot damage. This extends base card ability. So I don't know. I'm gonna have to do a deep dive into this system for the YouTube channel, I think, because there's a lot of interesting stuff to talk about. I think maybe not. Maybe I'm just thinking too highly of myself, but I do think it's a relatively interesting system that could be an interesting like code review video or something. Anyway, I don't think I want to do this though. So that was a big tangent for nothing. So we need a conditional decorator. Well, I'll just do a new conditional ability decorator damage ability. Want a level provider dot value is greater than or equal to 50. Why the conditional there? Var scalar is equal to ability scalars dot get damage scalar. Var new damage is equal to scalar base damage, set magnitude, set base magnitude. Then we're gonna do this, deal damage ability get base magnitude, damage if notoriety level is 50 or greater. I think this needs to be get magnitude. I have too many things open. Oh, it is get base magnitude. Okay. What's going on, honey? Are you hacking up something? Okay. So we've got the damage now. So now we need one for like a 75. This is going to be a very powerful card. Crit chance increase, I guess. Equals new composed ability. This is going to be a stacked card. My goodness. But that's okay, because it's going to be relatively hard to get. Okay, so base crit chance increase is 50. Crit chance... Oh, this needs to be a non-combat composed ability. And then, what do we need? Var... How do I do this? Self-critical chance modification. I need a wanted level provider. Azir, come on. This cat, oh my gosh. How many times are you going to jump up on me? How many times while I'm streaming? How many times? Okay. All right, there he goes. Hello. I'm trying to work, buddy. Cannot pay attention to you every minute of every day. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Okay. The cat just wants some loves and some cuddles. I know, but he wants that all the time. I know, you're stuck. Somebody needs to trim your claws. Okay, anyway. Increases critical hit chance. Where is this self-critical used? Alchemy negative ability. So this is critical chance. Chance increased by... I think I need to do description utils dot float 2%. I need to do current critical chance increase divided by 100. Okay. Critical chance increased by 50% if notoriety level is 75 or greater. Okay, we'll put this here. Crit chance increase. We might as well make paralysis. Does that make sense? No, I need at least one ability that doesn't require a notoriety level. Or maybe I don't. Maybe I should reverse some of these. Well, I don't know. I don't know. Let's see what it looks like. Probably need one more ability for 100. Or we could just, I mean, I guess I could just end it there. Applies 3 turns of paralysis to one random enemy minion card. Enemy card. Reduce turn cooldown by 5 if notoriety level is 25 or greater. Deal 10 damage if notoriety level is 50 or greater. Critical chance increased by 0%. Oh, that's not right. Current critical chance increase. Oh, this needs to be 100F. You know what? I think that's interesting enough. So it will have a chance to deal 15 damage. Reduce turn cooldown by 5. Yeah, I mean, I feel like this looks powerful, but it's actually not that powerful. I mean, it's going to apply 3 turns of paralysis, and then if you're at 50 or greater notoriety, you'll do 10 damage. And then when you're in the last 25 points of notoriety, you have a 50% crit chance, which will deal 15 damage. So I think this is very strong for a 1x1 card, but I don't think it's like I don't think it's going to just like make combats trivial. What's really interesting about this eyeball is, so typically 1x1 cards don't have 4 abilities on them. So that's number 1. Number 2, this is going to be good alchemy fodder to get some of these abilities onto different cards. And it's going to be rare in the sense that you can only get it from getting a very specific event in the game. So with all of that done, let's go to the trigger configuration. Let's put the eyeball in here, and then let's see if it works. So I think I still have the trigger node debug stuff up. So we'll just try to get through this. Oh, I need to add tags to this card as well. Am I gonna lose? What in the heck? I might lose again, actually. No. Oh, I did lose. What in the heck? Why didn't the ox die when it had bleed? I guess maybe it didn't. The timing wasn't right. Okay. Grants an... Oh, no. Grants a eyeball card. Son of a biscuit. Anyway, I have another eyeball in my inventory now. So that works. Cool. So let's just finish out the eye. Let's finish out the eyeball. Where is it? Eyeball. Okay. Turn cooldown, let's do 11. We're going to make this an alchemical item. Do I want to make it ritual as well? Let's make it alchemical ritual. Exclude from loot table has to be on. Cool. I think that's it. So we need the flavor text for the eyeball as well. I think we're good, though. I think we're good. Okay. Seeded run. We're going to get rid of this before I forget. All right, let's take a look at all these changes here. Wanted level, card factory, card registry, execution context. So all these changes are actually relatively small, but it looks good. That can stay. Okay, cool. Excellent. All right. I think I'm going to call this done. Add more trigger node buffs, debuffs. That one is good for now. Probably we'll want to add even more for the full version of the game. But again, we're just working toward the next playtest. So I do want to add a card overflow system. I do need to do new art for the Grow Board event. Oh gosh, there's a lot to do. Update map node tooltips. I wonder if I should kick combat log improvements out of the playtest. We'll see, we'll see. Add new enchantments, enchant text. Okay, anyway. Cool. Will the word notoriety be marked like damage and paralysis in the ability text? I don't think so. I'm reserving the keyword highlighting for like abilities that are actually executable or that can actually affect combat. The notoriety is not that, but I guess I could see an argument for highlighting it as well. I thought notoriety meant infamy or something. No, it just means how notable you are. I think the infamy connotation is appropriate for Alchemortis because, again, you're playing as the bad guy. So the Inquisition, yeah, like your infamy meter or whatever is going up as you're going through the land, slaughtering villagers and creating grotesque creations. If you think you have lots to do for your game, my game now wants me to manually combine 3,000 images into a single atlas. Oh no. There's got to be a way to automate that. But anyway, that's going to be it for the stream today. Thank you all for watching. Thank you for being here. And yeah, if you want, please wishlist Alchemortis on Steam. It's going to be out sometime next year. We're actually, I mean, all things considered, we're actually getting very close to the final release of the game. We're just going to do play tests until you all tell me that the game feels really good to play. And then once I've nailed down the mechanics and all that stuff and the flow of the game, then it's just a matter of pumping out a bunch of content into it. One of the main remaining things to do is I want to have multiple playable characters, and I also want to have meta progression. So those are like, aside from all the game design changes that will need to happen in response to your feedback, a lot of it's just going to be more content, more event types, more artifacts, more enchantments, more of everything, right? And then the meta progression system and the character selection system, the multiple playable character system. And then the game will be released. So, I mean, all of that encompasses like months of work still, but we are approaching the state where like we're getting to the home stretch of the game, I think. We're getting very close to the home stretch of the game. So still a lot more work to do, but I would say that the game is well over half finished. I would say probably close 60 or 70% finished. Of course, the last 10% takes the longest, so Hopefully that's not true, but we'll see. Anyway, thanks again, everyone, for watching. Check out the links in the description below for all the ways you can support the game and support me. Definitely join the Discord if you want to do that. And I will see you back here tomorrow at 10 a.m. Eastern. We will continue on with Alchemortis development. All right, take care, everyone. Have a great day, and I'll see you later. Bye-bye.